Turkey is facing one of the most significant economic crises in its recent history, with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan at the heart of this turmoil. In this video, we'll explore how Erdogan's policies have contributed to the growing public dissatisfaction and what the implications are for the country's future. If you want to gain a deeper understanding of this complex situation, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support is essential for us to continue bringing you relevant and insightful content. Since taking office, Recep Tayyip Erdogan has implemented a series of economic policies that initially appeared promising for Turkey's growth. Massive investments in infrastructure, such as airports, bridges, and roads, spurred urban development and improved the country's connectivity. Additionally, Erdogan adopted a low-interest rate approach, believing it would stimulate investment and domestic consumption. However, this strategy also led to significant inflation and the depreciation of the Turkish lira, creating a volatile economic environment. Turkey's increasing reliance on external loans became a critical issue as the national currency lost value. Businesses and consumers struggled to repay debts denominated in foreign currencies, exacerbating financial instability. The lack of transparency in economic decisions and political interference in the central bank contributed to a loss of confidence among international investors. This climate of economic uncertainty triggered a wave of discontent among the population, who saw their purchasing power decrease dramatically. Moreover, Erdogan's policies directly impacted the job market and the purchasing power of Turkish families. With inflation eroding wages, many people found it difficult to maintain their standard of living, leading to increased poverty and social inequality. Public dissatisfaction began to manifest in protests and growing criticism of the government, putting Erdogan under pressure to reverse the economic measures that led to the current crisis. This cycle of controversial policies and their direct consequences laid the groundwork for the economic crisis Turkey faces today. One of the most alarming aspects of Turkey's economic crisis is the rampant inflation that has been eroding citizens' purchasing power. In recent years, the annual inflation rate has skyrocketed, surpassing expectations and creating financial uncertainty for millions of Turks. The rapid depreciation of the Turkish lira has further intensified this situation, making imported goods significantly more expensive and putting additional pressure on families already struggling economically. Erdogan's low interest rate policy, initially aimed at stimulating economic growth, ultimately undermined investors and the public's confidence in the country's economic stability. As the lira continued to lose value, the prices of basic goods like food and fuel surged dramatically. This scenario led to a higher cost of living, forcing many Turks to drastically adjust their budgets and prioritize essential needs, often cutting back on non-essential expenses. Furthermore, high inflation has profound impacts on the job market and local businesses. Wages that do not keep pace with inflation result in a real decrease in income, affecting the quality of life and increasing social inequality. Businesses, on the other hand, face higher operational costs and difficulties in planning future investments, which can lead to layoffs and business closures. This vicious cycle of high inflation and lira depreciation is directly linked to the growing public dissatisfaction, reflected in protests and the waning support for Erdogan's government, which now faces the challenge of stabilizing the economy and restoring citizens' trust. Turkey's economic crisis affects not only macroeconomic factors, but also has a profound impact on people's daily lives. The rise in unemployment is one of the most visible consequences of this financial turmoil. As businesses struggle to stay afloat due to high inflation and the depreciation of the lira, many have been forced to downsize operations or shut down entirely. This has resulted in a significant loss of jobs, leaving thousands of Turks without income and increasing economic insecurity for families. Moreover, high unemployment contributes to increased social inequality and poverty in the country. Families that were already vulnerable before the crisis now face even greater challenges in meeting their basic needs. The lack of employment also affects people's mental health and well-being, leading to a rise in cases of stress, anxiety, and other mental health issues. The constant pressure to find work and support the family creates an environment of tension and despair, intensifying public dissatisfaction with Erdogan's leadership. The social impact of unemployment extends beyond the individual level, affecting social cohesion and the country's political stability. Entire communities feel the effects of limited job opportunities, which can lead to increased crime rates and the deterioration of social relationships. Growing dissatisfaction with the economic and social situation fuels distrust in the government and its policies, creating a cycle of discontent that makes economic recovery even more challenging. This complex reality requires a comprehensive approach to address the structural problems behind rising unemployment and its social consequences. Turkey's international relations play a crucial role in the country's current economic dynamics. Strategically located between Europe and Asia, Turkey is a point of interest for various global powers. However, this location also exposes Turkey to tensions and conflicts that can directly impact its economic stability. International sanctions, trade disputes, and political alliances influence Turkey's ability to attract foreign investments and access international markets, exacerbating internal economic challenges. Additionally, Turkey's reliance on loans from international organizations like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, highlights the country's vulnerability to global economic fluctuations. Negotiations with these institutions often impose austerity measures that can be unpopular among the population, further aggravating public dissatisfaction. Instability in relations with key trading partners, such as the European Union and the United States, also affects investor confidence and the international perception of Turkey's economy, hindering economic recovery efforts. Another important aspect is Erdogan's external policies, which aim to strengthen Turkey's position on the global stage. Initiatives like expanding relations with countries in the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America seek to diversify economic partnerships, but do not always result in immediate benefits for the domestic economy. The pursuit of economic autonomy and reducing dependence on traditional powers can create additional uncertainties and challenges, impacting economic stability and public satisfaction. Thus, Turkey's international relations are intrinsically linked to the economic crisis, shaping the opportunities and constraints the country faces. The growing public dissatisfaction with Erdogan's economic management has translated into a series of protest movements and demonstrations across the country. The streets of major Turkish cities like Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir have become venues for peaceful protests and, in some cases, clashes with security forces. Demonstrators express their frustration with high inflation, unemployment, and deteriorating living conditions, demanding changes in government policies and more responsible leadership. Beyond street protests, public discontent is also evident through civic initiatives and organised movements. Activist groups, labour unions, and civil society organisations have united to push for economic reforms and more transparent political practices. Social media has been a crucial tool for mobilising support and spreading information, enabling the population to coordinate actions and raise awareness about the challenges they face. This growing civil mobilisation reflects a collective desire for change and a search for solutions that address the real needs of the Turkish population. However, Erdogan's government response to the protests has been varied, oscillating between attempts at dialogue and repression. In some instances, there have been efforts to meet certain demands, such as increasing minimum wages or implementing social aid policies. In other cases, repression and restrictions on freedom of expression have been evident, with the detention of protest leaders and limitations on the right to assemble. This dual approach contributes to a constant state of tension, where civil society fights for its rights and the government struggles to maintain order and stability. The dynamic between the population and Turkish authorities will continue to play a crucial role in the country's economic and political trajectory. Thank you for watching the video. If you found this content informative, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps us bring more insightful analyses and updates. See you in the next video.